Good to see you. Happy New Year.
You're all set.
All right, it's 7:03, calling the meeting to order for the Town of Arundel Budget Board meeting, Wednesday, January 4th, 2017. First item is approval of the agenda. We have 17-18 municipal operating budget development, followed by the establish additional meeting schedule and other business and adjournment. Does anyone have anything to add, change, or otherwise?
I would suggest as we go through the budget tonight, we focus not necessarily the sequence, but on the items that we think are of real significance, get that done first, and then in subsequent meetings or later on, focus on the stuff that's very routine and not changing.
Okay.
Is that, is it feasible?
I second that motion, Jack.
I'll third it.
All right. Well, I mean, we're just kind of throwing it out there, so it's not really changing anything on the agenda, so
Not, that's true.
we'll go ahead with that. So for the approval of the agenda, we're going to have a motion on that.
Motion approved.
All right. And second by Jack. All those in favor? All those opposed, stay home.
Think I really have.
All right, so it's 17-18 municipal operating budget development. Now, we were just talking about the 139,000.
Correct.
And so
That was
we're well aware of that, so
Right.
that's not gonna be an issue for next year.
Right, it's not an issue with the budget development's only issue was when I set the tax rate. And as we expressed before, if we had put that in, we would have had a $15.44 tax rate instead of a $15.12 tax rate. So, I will keep you all advised as the end of February gets here, see where we are. Certainly we'll let the board know, and if any decisions need to be made by them,
Okay.
you're advised as well.
Hey, I'm sorry not to bring it up before we approve the agenda, but would it be possible to get the minutes of the last meeting approved?
Oh, yes, we do need to go through
Which I
that.
emailed out to everybody back in October.
I think you got the minutes for the last meeting?
Well, I've got one copy of it. I thought everybody would bring their own, seeing as how you guys all got it in the email.
Yeah, I can pull up my email.
I've got one copy there. I think it needs to refresh their memory.
I think I commented at the time, but I thought we were,
Yeah, I got a, thank you for the email, Jack, yeah.
if I could remember back there.
Can't remember what I had for breakfast this morning.
I'll make a motion to approve minutes on our meeting.
Yeah, I will second.
Motion to approve and a second. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passes. Minutes for 12 October 2016 are in the books. Okay, did you have any particular areas of interest, Jack, that you want to start off on? Did you want to kind of throw that out to Keith?
Well, from the standpoint of a fairly large increase, I think we need to look at professional services. Review the recreation area, both that and the bus reserve. And in particular, the police patrol services. For 301. I'm sorry, 2701. The discussion about whether there needs to be a second patrol officer.
And
Those are, I think, the big hitters, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, pretty much, Jack. I had put together a sequence that I would go through with you folks if you want me to. Right now, there's a tentative in there of about $129,422 of what I would term new spending, things that were added to this budget that weren't there last year. And if you want, I can just go through those, so at least you have an idea of what they're there for.
Sure.
That probably would be the best place to start.
Yeah.
The first one would be 1104 under professional services. There's a $5,000 that's been added there. I think the total comes to $52.15, but there's $5,000 that is being requested for mapping, tax mapping. The last time we did mapping was in 2014. And what occurs now is that the assessor, once she gets new deeds in and whatnot, she has a master map that she continues to write on based on the deed descriptions and puts that on the maps accordingly. And we've been waiting several years before we've had them updated again. Preliminary discussion I had with the office upstairs, the assessor, CEO, and the planner, there's gonna be about $5,000 to redo the maps. The next one I have would be,
I'm sorry, Keith, were you saying that would be like an annual cost, or is this a?
no,
one-time thing
it's
that covers
generally
several
done
years?
every 2 or 3 years, from what I
2 or 3.
understand. Anytime there's significant amounts of changes in the mapping, I think what's pushed it a little bit now too, are the cottages and the separate lots and the things that are up there as well, so we need to have that all mapped. Right now, if you looked at our maps, it would be one open, lot, and we know there's more than that there now, so.
In that regard, in talking with one of the selectmen report, apparently you're able to call up all the details about that particular property when you go to that specific address. And even, I think, a map of the property. I don't know what we're getting for our $5,000 and whether it's consistent with what's available in the market now.
Right, what we're getting for the $5,000 is hard copy mapping. So they will be detailed to whatever lots are in existence as the maps are developed. I think what you're referring to is our Vision software company does provide a service that allows us to put all of our property record full lots on the computer. So you as a consumer can then click on a Rundle and then click on the map and lot that you want, be able to bring up the property record card, be able to print that card. Right now, we don't provide that service. I have asked the assessor to get in contact with Vision and determine what cost is associated with providing that service to our customers. We're about the only community right now that I know of that doesn't provide that. I know that Lyman does, Kennybunk
Kennybunk does not.
Kennybunk doesn't, I'm sorry.
Kennybunk Port does.
Kennebunkport does. So it's a service that we can provide. I don't know what the cost is yet. When I get it, I'll bring it forward to you to see if
Okay.
it's something that
Yeah, I
you think
think
we can add.
Alternatives would be good.
Right.
It certainly seems like we should have it. I mean, as terms of like, the online piece of it, like the vision appraisal piece
Yeah.
would be, super advantageous for us.
Well, it certainly helps, it helps all consumers, including the real estate agents,
Yeah,
where
that's
they
huge.
can stay home or at their office and they can print their cards and don't have to bother the staff about getting cards printed and so on and so forth. So it's just an added bonus of customer service that we be may be able to provide.
Yeah.
The other service that we had talked about was the screaming deal on meetings. Did the principal from this school ever
Correct.
get back to us with any cost on that?
I have not received any cost about live streaming as of yet. So that's still tentative out there as to what that's going to be. And I'll follow up with him. It's a good segue for me to give him a call. The next thing that looks like we're going to request some addition to would be under 1301, under the fire department, we're gonna be adding an additional $1,300 in rescue supplies. Right now, we allocate about 13,000 for what we call rescue supplies. And what's occurring, from what I gathered by talking to the fire representatives last week, is that the hospitals now are not providing us our soft supplies is what they call it. So if we bring somebody in and we've used some sort of material on them, in the past we were able to get that material from the hospital and restock our ambulance accordingly. That service is going away. It's been cost prohibitive for the hospital provided. So right now, when I spoke to them, I said, can I bump it 10%? And at this point, they said that would be a reasonable cost increase.
Are there any items in that fire department budget that, based on prior experience, could be reduced?
We're still working on that. I met again with the fire department today. I think we may have some changes in there, but more importantly, when we get to discussing capital improvement spending, they have some pretty big number items that may be coming up that we're gonna have to talk about. Things like the air packs, they're gonna be pass alarms that go with the equipment that they have, need to be upgraded. Those may be something that isn't an immediate need, but it'll be something that we may have to add for a capital cost as we're thinking. So we may have to develop a capital expense budget based on those things. I'm waiting for the numbers to come in, and we'll pick at it. From what I understand, when a lot of these air packs were purchased, they were purchased with a grant, and they are all purchased at one time. So unfortunately, sometimes they all need to be retired about the same time, so we need to start planning on the fact that may occur here soon.
Well, my years being on the budget board here, this is something that we've gone on with the fire department about, because I want to say it's probably been about 4 or 5, maybe even 6 years ago, that they were saying that SBA masks or tanks, because they were originally bought with a grant, were coming up, and we told them that they should be starting to, repurchase or, start rotating out and getting new ones, so it's not a huge hit in 1 year, it's kind of spread out.
Right, you're talking about the tanks, yes, the tanks, and then the air harness packs themselves, the regulators and the pass alarms, and those are the things that I'm talking about as well, in addition to just the tank. Those will have to be replaced as well. They get periodically inspected. They have to pass a certain standard in order to stay in service. Right now we have, from what I understand, 18 of them. So we have to start thinking about the future replacement of those items as well.
Yeah, my thinking is kind of in the other direction with these capital items coming up. Are there expense items, at least for the coming year, that could be reduced potentially? offset at least a part of those capital expenses. Looking at the year-to-date numbers, some of them are very, very low. And I can't help but think that we could shave a few thousand here and a few thousand there.
I agree, it's stuff that we still need to look at, but,
Just thoughts for.
yeah, I'm with you,
discussion.
Jack, because if we're gonna start maybe adding some capital cost here, if we can shave it here, we still would keep that tax rate, the amount that we need from the taxpayer a little bit steady, instead of fluctuating up and down. The other thing that's added here would be under 1304, which would be the firefighters EMT per diem costs. Last year, we bumped that by $1 per hour per position that you are certified for, be it basic, advanced, or paramedic. This year, I'm proposing 50 cents per position, and that will increase the budget by $10,080 in the EMT firefighter line. And accordingly, all the other costs will go up as well.
Those rates all look very much in line with nearby towns.
They seem to be, yes, sir. The other towns may have gone up a little bit, but I think we have some pretty decent incentives there. We've raised our rates, I think people have appreciated that. We've provided to our employees, to our per diem folks who have worked holidays or those types of shifts, some incentives to come in and work for us. That's helped. And we're seeing that we're having a far more paramedics that are coming back to us to work, as opposed to having basics and advanced life support or life-saving qualifications. So I think we're finding that that's helping us get to the paramedic level, which we'd like to be at as much as possible.
That's good.
The next I have would be,
I can answer any question you need, Bill, in that category.
No, people happy?
Yeah, we're still having a hard time filling shifts. That is one thing we're running into. There's a lot of open shifts.
I talked to Randall today, he had a bunch that were open and he couldn't fill, still working on it.
The pool is, it's not filling as much as the people are leaving. And that's just across the board. It's not just our town. But we're not getting the young people coming into the program like we were. And a lot of the paramedics in advance, you know, you get burnt out. A lot of these guys have to work 3, 4, 5 different departments just to make a living. And just 7 to 10 years is their limit. They just get burnt out. So when they leave, there's no one else behind them to fill their shoes.
It's becoming a problem.
Oh, it's- yeah,
Jason,
it's
it's
global.
becoming
I
a
mean,
problem
it's-
everywhere. Those people are,
They don't get paid anything to do a lot. Just to speak a little bit on the capital reserve though, I feel as if we're leaving a lot of TIF money on the table from that CMP TIF
we're not,
for fire department capital.
I'm still thinking about the fire department TIF money. Yes, we had that conversation today as well. Right now, we have the rescue truck,
Right.
which we're gonna have to pay for, and that will be paid with TIF money.
Sure.
And then,
There's no reason why we couldn't at least supplement half of our air packs through that.
it's a good possibility. Yep, that's a good possibility, because there are things that are needed. And right now, I think the anticipated capture is around 40,000.
Yeah.
So that will give us a good charge of money. We just have to prioritize. I've asked the department to give me their prioritized list here this week, so. The other area that I had here would be the additional dedicated sheriff deputy, which you would see under 2701. That really equates out to about $99,240. And I used that number because that was the number that was provided to me last year. It may fluctuate a little bit, but when the county manager provided that number, he gave me a low number and a high number. Even our existing dedicated patrolman, sheriff deputy does not make that kind of money, but we have to, I think at this point, budget for worst case, and in fact, we move forward with it. So I have 99,240 there for that position. And I also have, under the police cruiser, I added, it's just $1,000, because as John pointed out the last time, we've already captured the 33,000 within the budget, and we need 34,000 for another new cruiser, so it would be $1,000 additional dollars if in fact we decide to create a special warrant article for another sheriff's deputy. So we would have 99,240 plus the cruiser, so we're, about 100 grand there.
The sheriff in his presentation gave us a lot of data, but I couldn't gather from it that either that there was any significant change in the problems we're having here in town, and no idea as to how you measure what benefits you get from having a second person. I kind of think we need a second person, but I don't know how you measure that.
I kind of think the only way you get to measure it is put the guy on and see what your statistics look like the following year. And at that point, it's a bit late if you decide that it wasn't a worthwhile investment,
Well,
because you've already bought the extra cruiser.
Yeah, we weren't getting any, the data didn't show any change over time. All they did was present us with 1 year's worth of data, and you couldn't see whether things are getting better or worse.
Waterboro, at the time, did Waterboro just add a second deputy?
Well, that was gonna be my question, if there were any towns that were
I
similar.
think they did.
And they were next in line to us on a lot of the categories.
Correct.
I'd be interested to talk to them to see.
Yeah, I would be curious to see what
I
they're.
can talk to the manager up there, Gary Land, and see how they're doing as well.
Well, I'm just kind of wondering, is there also a way to break down, because they'll throw at us, oh, there was, 200 something automobile accidents that were responded to, or something like that. Is there, they must have some way of differentiating if it was responded by the on-shift Arundel deputy, or if it was, another deputy covering on a non-film.
See, I look at it a little bit different than both of you. I look at it as a dedicated level of service, and really to determine whether or not the municipality wants to invest in that. Because right now, we have 40 hours out of 168 hours of dedicated service. This would give us 80 of dedicated to only Arundel. So I think, the statistics will be fine, but I think fundamentally you all need to decide whether or not you believe that we're ready to make that next step to have another level of service. Because obviously, if you've got a deputy here for 80 hours a week, you're gonna have more of a presence, it's gonna be around more, and you're gonna see them more often.
I think before we agonize too much over a second deputy, we ought to get a lot deeper into the rest of this budget. because there are things coming up this year that could have a major impact. But right now, we have no clue. What are we gonna do about buying land for the new town hall? Are we gonna go ahead with construction for a new town hall this year? What's the impact of our valuation gonna be on the budget? It's all stuff that could have a real major impact, and depending on how these things go, we might be taking a look at that mill rate and say, we ain't doing a second police cruiser this year. Or if things fall into place and it looks pretty good, we might be in a position to, to do something. But I think not wasting, but I think taking a lot of time now to discuss the pros and cons, and I think it might be the kind of question that gets decided for itself once we get a bit deeper into the figures here.
Sure, I can talk a little bit about land acquisition. Right now, on the table, we have a piece of land that's $375,000. The town is looking to partner with the Conservation Trust, Kennebunk Fork Conservation Trust, which has put together an offshoot called the Arundel Conservation Trust to work with them and Arundel's properties. So they're willing to partner with us on the purchase of that property. The other thing that we have to keep in mind is that the town already has a capital reserve fund of about $362,000 that could be used for the purchase of land. So in terms of purchasing the property and having an impact on the rate, that's probably not gonna happen. In terms of when we get ready to have a building design and built, my preliminary review of that, just the 8,000 square foot building is probably 1.8 million. And then the groundwork to get ready for that, which I think we had an estimate of about 600,000. That all will have to be bonded. So that's when the rubber will hit the road in terms of what it's gonna impact on our tax rate, so.
That likely wouldn't happen until a year from
I don't think so. I think we're probably looking at another year. I don't think we're gonna be prepared. I think that, the land purchase could be done at this town meeting. I think the development and the layout of the town hall and getting bond counsel, getting estimates from an architect or engineer as to what cost it will be to build, or a contractor, will take us a while to get that all together. I think we're another year out before we are ready to do that kind of stuff, so. But that money will be there, we'll have to do something.
Yeah.
And then you're talking a couple of million,
Yeah,
over 10, 15, 20 years, whatever
yeah,
you choose.
right.
And the impact
Yeah.
of that.
Right. So I see that. The other thing that I've built into this budget that's not new is, at this point, the wage and benefit adjustments that I'm proposing within the budget. Presently, we have a personnel policy that provides anybody who has longevity to get a 7 cents an hour rate adjustment automatically. And then what I also did was I added, based on my consumer price index in October, it looked like it was running about 1.3%. So I added 1.6% to the employees' wages. Now, last year, the selectmen looked at what I had recommended and added a little bit more based on their experiences and their thought process of how they wanted to handle that. So right now, that's built in, and I've got that as a total benefit of about $36,217 onto this budget.
That was across the board, Keith, or that was years of service, based on years of service? How does it
Yeah,
work?
if you've been here for 3 years, after that, you get 7 cents an hour automatic. And then what I did is I just looked at the CPI, and that was 1.3, so if you add those both together, it comes up about 1.6%. So that's what I did at this point. And I'll adjust that by the end of the fiscal year. I think, I'm still waiting for December numbers. November numbers are telling me 2.1. December numbers may be a little bit higher or lower, but I figured I'd wait till December to really hone in on what that final number will be. So right now, I'm proposing 36. It might be closer to 38 or 40 when everything is said and done.
That's fully burdened.
Correct. That also includes the adjustment in our health premium by 9.2%. Our health went up that much.
Went up a lot this year.
Yeah, if I had changed, it would have gone up over 11%. So we stayed with the, with MMA and the proposal we have right now, it's 9.2. I can tell you that I had discussions with the manager, the interim manager from Kennebunk, the manager from Kennebunkport, and the superintendent of schools, and we're floating the idea of self-insurance. Now, I'm not quite sure how far it will go, but I think it's something that we as municipal managers need to look at and see if it's gonna make sense to us. I think we're gonna get more pushback from the unions, respective in each community, as opposed to what we would get here in Arundel, because we don't have unions that we need to deal with, but the superintendent felt that it would be a hard push for the teachers to give up what they have if they could go to a, self-insurance policy.
Would this be like a joint deal with Kennebunk and Kennebunk?
Yeah, I would-
Rather than Arundel trying to self-insure on their own?
Right, we couldn't afford self-insurance on our own based on ours, so it would be, it'd be an accumulation of everybody's employees.
Yeah.
We talked about that, we talked about similar personnel policies, stuff to start bringing the same issues that we're all dealing with together in one basket and see if that makes sense. Again, Arundel will make its own determination whether or not it makes sense for us to do it. And we'll wait to see how that flushes out, but
The size of the school district makes it even possible to consider.
But, yeah.
500 employees there.
But the MEA is a very hard lobby for the school and the teachers, so I think it's gonna be a tough nut to crack.
That's a good point.
And if you tried to do it without the teachers, there probably just wouldn't be enough personnel involved.
Yeah, I'm trying to think,
Make it work.
we got what, about 15 to 18? And I don't know what Kennebunk must have 40, 50.
Yeah.
So that would put us over that 50. It would be nice to get to 100, because at that 100, I think it looks more favorably for self-insurance.
For the 3 towns
Yeah.
plus the school district.
Yeah, if we, Katie even talked to us about maybe the administrative staff, which isn't associated with the union, could bring those staff members into a self-insurance policy as well. So there's still possibilities there, but the biggest one would be the teachers. We can get them to come on.
Speaking of teachers, have we had any indication from the RSU how much they're gonna pump us up this year?
Jack may be in a better
They
position
probably
to
haven't even,
shed light on that than I. I haven't talked to Rudy or Katie on the matter.
The process is just getting underway, and the first finance committee meeting is next week. Rudy's been directed to put together, Katie's been directed to put together 3 different budgets. One is a 0 increase as a baseline, and let's see, there's a 3% increase, and then one that is her best judgment. So that's what we'll be working from.
Be dealing with that.
But things are going very, very well. The bonding was reduced by $1 million. And then went out, the public approved 56.5. Turns out we only needed 55.5. And we have hard commitments from the contractors at that level. So that saved a lot of money. And then as there's a continuing reduction in the number of kids going into TAMS and GA, the cost of tuition that goes out of the RSU is getting significantly reduced, and it's several $100,000 a year change each year for a long time here. So that'll have a factor. And in addition to that, there will be a bond increase in the next budget, and a very small one in the one after that. And then it decreases about 0.5% per year for the next 15 years.
So we're looking for at least 2 more bumps on the bond.
Yeah, but the big one's already done.
Yeah.
So, my guess is we're gonna be pretty pleasantly surprised.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, not that there will be any decreases.
No,
They don't exist, just the rate of increase will be modest.
Yeah.
And this past year, what was it, 4.5 million? So, it's a big nut.
Yeah.
And the county budget is being worked on too. And it's, I don't think we'll see much change there either.
I'm gonna be attending a meeting up there next week in reference to the Lehman Center.
Yes,
Are you going to that one?
yes, I plan to.
Okay. This is, the Lehman Center is a effort being undertaken by the county to provide, and fill in the details as much as you can, Jack, to provide a drug rehabilitation center for prisoners that are low risk for, you know, and for escape and low risk for reoccurring. So it's an effort to be undertaken to try to curb that drug problem. The way it was described to me, they're looking for county dollars in order to help sustain it. There'll be money coming from other avenues, but the county still will have to pony up some money. And I think at the meeting that I'll be attending, they'll start talking a little bit about that. They gave us some rough numbers at a meeting I attended in Sanford last month, but I think they're gonna hone in on the numbers a little bit better, so.
The total cost of that, operating that center, take the building that's right across the street from the jail, there's a wooden building there that was used for other purposes. Rehab that, the building is already rehabbed, put 24 beds in there, 8 of them for short-term detox, and 16 beds for long-term. And this is a 6-month rehab program for people that are in serious trouble.
Now, is this across Route 4?
No, it's still, it's only 200 yards in front of the jail. As you drive in the parking areas there in the jail, sits in there. It's on the other side of the parking lot.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about 1.6 million to operate per year. a portion of that money would come from us as taxpayers, maybe a third of it, thereabouts.
Our saving grace to that will be, this year is our 5th year of paying for the county budget, the fiscal year change. So we're gonna be having about $15,000, which after this year will be eliminated. So, the increase to the center, if it does become a reality, may not be as impactful upon us as a result of that other amount being sunsetted.
In round numbers, county, well, a center like that, if the county taxpayers pay, say, $500,000, our tax in Arundel is about 2%, so about $10K a year, which would offset.
Right. So even though we give you some doom and gloom, sometimes there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel that as we work our way through these numbers, we may be able to keep that rate down. Those were the high points that I had. Some of this we're still working on.
Now, I am seeing that on 1303, call company, that's down 32%.
Yep.
Because there really isn't one.
Right, what I did is
Personal
I,
slush fund.
There really is nobody.
what I did is I reduced their, I reduced the amount of hours that we actually are having these call company folks. I also provided an incentive within the budget to allow wages to go from $10.69, which is there now, to $12.19. So my hope is the people that have been there for a while, that have participated in the call company, show up to the fires, do their training and assist, I think, as I told the chief today, they should be getting the $12.19 an hour rate as opposed to see if we can keep them. But quite frankly, I think that whole type of dynamic is starting to weed away because of the amount of training that folks need to participate. If you're doing it as a call person, it's not like when you would show up and say, hey, look, I'd like to be on the fire department. Sure, we'll teach you how to take care of a few things and you can come to the fire and help us. Those days are over.
Is there anything that could be, worked out with Kennebunk and Kennebunkport in the way that, I don't know anything about the fire department, so don't take this too seriously, but where you could maybe hire, let's say, an extra half a dozen people split between the 3 towns. So instead of relying on calling in Joe and Fred if you have a fire, you have a small pool of guys who.
Essentially what we do now anyway, John.
Is this?
Yeah. What we have now is what they call run cards.
Yeah.
And when E911 is dispatched to, like, our dispatch center, which is Bedford, and they say, John Bell's house is on fire.
Yeah.
Well, that triggers a certain run card, so that not only dispatches Arundel, it dispatches Bedford, Kennebunkport, Goodwin's Mills. So you're essentially pulling from 4 or 5 towns on, and it's all based on the severity of the call, you know, like motor vehicle accidents with injury. You're gonna automatically get another town or,
It's very also location too.
yeah. You just can't rely on, especially in the day. I mean, who's gonna leave work now for, well, as it is now, $10.60 to, you know.
But I gather it still gets used enough that it isn't a program that you can just eliminate and
No.
do away with that budget item completely.
Yeah, I think we may be going that way, but I'm really reluctant to let it go yet.
The numbers
yeah.
don't quite balance out yet. I would say if we lost like 4 to 6 more call company guys,
Yeah.
I would almost say at that point, you'd have to increase the per diem, put on more guys on the per diem side, so it's a guaranteed response, and eliminate the call company altogether, you know. But it's not a balance yet, it's.
Because in the middle of the night, unless these call guys come out for a structure fire, all you're gonna have is the.
You got our two first out, but then, you know, structure fire is one of those incidents
Right.
where every town around us is coming automatic. So,
Would it make sense to try to develop a criteria for closing? You know, take a look at what you just said, and if and when you get down to a certain point, then you're in a position to make that decision. In other words, have that known now so that it's a lot easier to make that decision over time, instead of it being a surprise.
there's a lot of factors. Call volume would be one of them. I mean, right now, we're only doing, I think this year will be our highest, maybe 560 calls. You know, so you'd have to weigh
Including,
rescue and fire combined, yeah.
Yeah, your fires.
We don't have fires. Nobody has fires anymore. It's, these houses are built so tight that fires put themselves out before you even get there.
Unless you have a meth lab.
Yeah, well, your house hasn't burned yet, so.
That depends on how our selectmen
That's the case
respond
this weather.
and
Watch it go.
choosing to have them or not.
Yeah, right. We have a moratorium on meth labs in Arundel. So. But we'd have to hit a certain number, I think, on calls. You know what I mean? You'd have to weigh, all right, the numbers have gone up to X number. The call response has gone down to X number. And the per diem, it would have to be kind of a circle of life type thing for, you know. I don't think you could ever move forward saying, well, if we were down to a 10 call company,
Well,
let's eliminate it.
at some point, you make a decision.
Yeah, you may, and part of the decision is what Jason just talked about. You're gonna need to add more to the per diem side, and if you're not getting the per diems, you may have to add to the full-time side.
Right.
No, I understand.
That's the other balance there, that we're getting a pretty good bang for our buck right now.
Yeah, it's still gonna come
Yeah.
from somewhere else.
So if